This project came about with a collaboration between an EAL specialist and myself as a mainstream teacher. We jointly planned a project, literacy-based project, to cater specifically for EAL advanced learners, but also to raise the writing for the entire class. Our focus was around a game called Amazon, because it was a photorealistic game and the children are already very digitally aware playing games like Minecraft. We wanted to focus on descriptive writing and persuasive writing, and you can see that through the material and through the resources that we created and that the children produced. My class has 30 children in it. It's girl heavy and it's a year 4-5 mixed class. The average age is 9 and it ranges between 8 and 10. Like an average class across this country, they have a wide range of ability. The EAL learners I have in my class come from Poland and Lithuania. They've been at the school for 2 or 3 years and can speak and talk relatively well, which tends to mask their comprehension skills and particularly their academic writing. We focus on advanced EAL learners because they have a tendency to plateau, particularly in their writing. Evidence has shown that academic writing and academic thinking and talk for writing can help them overcome this hurdle. We chose the game Amazon because it's suitable age content and it's a photorealistic game. It's immersive and the theme behind it is mystery, which really captivates the children. It also contains mythical creatures, settings across the world, and it's cross-curricular where it has geography and science. The actual story is heavily based around narrative, and it has journals, it has diary entries, and it gives a great opportunity for the children to read these and to include them in their writing. We used the interactive whiteboard to show the children elements of the game while we were playing the game through the computer. It also allowed us to use it interactively when we were doing one of the activities, for example, Crack the Code, where the children could come up to the board and fill out the letters that they thought represented those symbols, at the same time as the children were doing it on pen and paper. And that created a real dynamic in the class. It also can be used for focus for attention, and it focuses all the children's attention to the board, and you can see which children aren't focused. It can also be used to show media from the internet and to play clips and to play trailers that we had used later on. It also uses the visualizer to show children's work as we are writing independently. And this encouraged children to then write better pieces so then their work could be shared. We used the role play area as one of the main elements to the project. We had pictures, we had sound boxes, we had journals, we had hand-drawn pictures, we had big blown up printouts of the journal that comes from the video game. We put the items on and into the role play area gradually and progressively as we went through the scheme of work. This was to encourage the children to keep their motivation and also to build up that anticipation of what's going to come next. The children used the role play area in the mornings predominantly for the 5-10 minutes when they came in, and they had the opportunity to talk about these objects and to show and tell to the other children in the class. And I made it a point to have some of the advanced EAL learners to have to stand in front of the class to talk about these objects. For example, preserved creatures in specimen jars were a great favourite of the children's. The other devices we had were talking tins that allowed the children to hear the sounds of the rainforest and to immerse themselves in that world, and it gave more context to the project. We also had a talking journal that had the entire diary that comes from the game. So each page had an audio recording to it that the children could play and listen to. And that was very interesting for the children because they'd never come across something like this before. The two focuses for this particular project were descriptive writing and persuasive techniques. We explicitly focused on technical and academic language because evidence has shown that advanced EAL learners need more explicit focus on preparing academic and technical writing. Some of the vocabulary and content games we used were, for example, the Jenga game, where the vocabulary for the game, for example, aquatic, to describe the creatures, or scientist, were placed underneath of the Jenga bricks. And then as a child removed one of those Jenga bricks, they had to then turn over and read the word, and as a group collectively decide what that definition of the word was. We used the bingo game activity to teach the persuasive techniques. The children had a selection of the persuasive techniques on their bingo card and some examples of persuasive techniques. And when they heard a persuasive technique or were given an example of them, they had to tick it off on their card. And then when they had their card fill out, they shouted bingo.
Temple Run. Having stolen a precious artifact, you have woken the ferocious demon guardians. And now you must escape from their deadly pursuit. Immerse yourself in glorious graphics and a moody musical score.
A dictogloss activity works by a teacher choosing a suitable text or creating a text that they then read to the children 3 times. The child in front of them has a prepared sheet that they record what they hear. And after the reading session, the children come together as a group and replicate that text. Then after that, the children then come together as a class and share the work they've created and critique it along with the teacher. They also identify the main features of the text. We use video game trailers to show elements of persuasive techniques. We took a selection of game trailers that were professionally made from the internet and showed them to the children. And the children were then able to watch these and to listen to them and identify the persuasive techniques used in them. For example, rhetorical questions and hyperbole when there was narration attached to the trailer. What we did next was we got the children to make their own trailers for the Amazon game. We decided to use the iPads and to use iMovie specifically. We downloaded templates off the internet that allowed the children to plan as a group on paper and pen their ideas of how their trailer was going to sequence and what persuasive techniques to include. We also had a selection of still images from the game and some video footage that we had put into a folder that allowed the children to then take those elements and to sequence them within their trailer. They then had the opportunity to type text into that gave them the opportunity to express what persuasive techniques they had learnt and to tell the story. The most immediate benefits for the EAL learners were that they were more self-confident and they were able to express themselves clearer in the class and to the class collectively rather than just on a one-to-one basis. The improvements we saw in the EAL learners' writing was modest. Being only a 2-3 week project, you can only see some changes. And since the project, their writing has developed and they've become a lot more fluent and the flow has improved and the amount they write now has increased. There was a significant improvement within the short period of time for one child in particular, who I suspect because she was more of an advanced EAL learner, it came through in her writing immediately within the time frame of the project. And this can be seen in her writing, the before and after.